Hey, we are here with Gamebound playing another series. We either do one-shots or like short series, and we'll be doing a lot of short series recently. We did Monster Hearts, and we did some Blades in the Dark, and now we're going to do some Legacy Life Among the Ruins, technically second edition. There was a first edition. I never played it, but so Legacy is about rebuilding from the ashes of Apocalypse. It is one of my favorite games because it is so focused on like world building. It's so fun because like you play the like game creation step and you're already like, wow, that was so much fun. I had so much fun just like creating a world. Oh, this is also a role-playing game where we get to play. So I'm excited just to like hang out with you guys and make up weird crap about this post-apocalyptic world we're about to create. So, it sounds like we have more or less decided on basic ideas for playbooks. I think Jordan was the only one who hadn't decided between two of them. Do you have a final decision now, Jordan? What are you going to do?
That your final
Would you like to share with us? Oh, okay, yeah. Food in your mouth. Yep, fair enough.
Do we want to go over ours first while we're...
I'm good now. Yeah, I'm going to go with Finding People. I like
the Enclave.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Enclave of the Hufflepuff.
Sure. Yes.
Hufflepuff are good finders.
That's true.
I love you, Jordan.
That's hilarious.
I don't have any context for what just happened, but okay.
This is definitely I pretty much guessed every one of the playbooks that you guys chose. Like I don't think I had a chance to. We talked about. I think we were talking about Kaiju with Seth before we settled on this game. So that one, that's not necessarily the same situation. But I totally guessed that Alyssa would be interested in the Uplift Animal playbook, and totally guessed that Jordan would want to do Enclave of Bygone Lore. So okay, I consider myself.
Here's your bonus round challenge.
Okay.
What do you think Emily would have picked?
Which one is about romancing people?
Well, there's a character playbook that is a matchmaker. That is a legitimate playbook in the game. But in terms of family playbook, I'm not entirely sure. Emily often will play something based on what the rest of people are playing, right? She'll often fill in a slot and be totally flexible with like what she wants to do based on what the needs are. But so I don't know. I'd have to look over the playbooks again, but I'll see if I can guess.
I imagine she would say, "I don't care. I want to be the matchmaker." Which one is the best
right. Yeah. As soon as I told her that was a possibility, yeah, probably true. Maybe she would play the Eternal Masquerade then, which is about like art and mystery and romance and like a artistic sense. Anyway,
yeah, that sounds 100% Emily.
Cool. So let's jump into this, shall we? We're gonna play
the Crutch of 1,000 Foot.
Yeah, the game creation portion of the game here. And depending on how fast it goes, we might jump right into like a short scene or two with the characters. We'll see. We do have to make families and make characters, so it'll depend on.
It's gonna take a couple of years, don't you think?
Yeah, we'll see.
I haven't even met anyone yet, Caleb. How can you say something like that? Sorry, Seth, you can't play with me because you're single and dumb.
What? Wait, I'm confused.
Because you said we'd have to make families and stuff. Seth and I are kind of down for the count on this one.
No, that's yeah. The factions that you play in Legacy are called families. That's the name given.
More like the Godfather kind?
Or the Fast and the Furious kind.
Yeah. So technically the first step of beginning the game is discussing tone, which mainly in terms of, I guess there's two steps to this. One being, we've already done this, but the first step of this being choosing ruins, echoes, or mirrors, which is like how weird the game is. But that basically determines what family playbooks are like available to pick. And since Seth already picked Order of the Titan, which is like on the weirdest level, we're just doing mirrors, right? With mirrors, all expectations. Oh, and I guess Alyssa doing Uplift the Animals, which is also mirrors. With mirrors, all expectations of normality are thrown out the window. Mutants, aliens, mystics, psychic powers, anything goes.
Yeah.
So the playbooks draw on such varied sources such as The War of the Worlds, The Planet of the Apes, and Terminator, with players stepping into the inhuman shoes of those works' antagonists. Technology could have you hopping dimensions or traveling through time and weirder things besides. Each of these playbooks moves you far away from the baseline post-apocalyptic setting. Make sure that you work together to create a setting that still feels cohesive and real. So we're going to do weird. And then we have also talked about content. So I think we're going for more of an optimistic, like Studio Ghibli vibe, which I'm about.
After the last mini session, I don't want to go.
No, I like it. I don't know if any of you have like watched like Castle in the Sky, for example. But that Ghibli movie has a feeling like it's obvious that like society has like regressed in some way from like powerful civilizations that rule the world with technology into something a little bit more rural. There's still technology and stuff, and there's still like ancient ruins and things. But it has like this kind of apocalyptic feeling of like loneliness and emptiness as opposed to war-torn grunge and whatnot. We also decided on doing some diesel punk stuff. So the technology that I'm sure Jordan's faction will be messing around with will be more along those vibes. So like machines that run on diesel, so mechs and airships and planes, tanks, that sort of stuff is on the table. Like of the World War and the intermediary period between those two World War eras, kind of up to the 1950s, maybe. That's like the era of technology, at least aesthetic, that we're working with. Obviously, you can have like super technology and flying airships and things, but
guys, I just had an awesome idea. I just want to throw this out before I forget.
Okay.
Underground submarines, like subterranean vehicles, like your submarines, but going through the ground instead of the water. Yep. That would be awesome.
There's a word for that, Seth. It's called an excavator.
True.
Not really. I'm talking about like literally. I'm thinking more like
sand.
The drill car from the Lost City of Atlantis.
Oh, I was thinking the drill car from Larry Boy.
They're about the same.
Bigger though. I've never.
There's
Atlantis.
There's the drill from Gurren Lagann. Since that show starts underground.
I just thought that sounded cool. Given certain
that sounds cool.
Anyway,
from what Seth and I were talking about, it sounded like at least his first inclination with the monsters that his faction is going to deal with might be underground dwelling. So we'll see. I guess. Yeah, the next step after content is to choose your family. So it sounds like we've settled on Seth is going to play the Order of the Titan, which is a playbook that centers around giant monsters, and your faction is like the people who know the most about them and can deal with them. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be monster hunters, but it's playing off of things like Attack on Titan and like Pacific Rim, those sorts of things where you're the only ones who can deal with the giant monsters that are threatening the world. But technically you could use the monsters instead of killing them too, right? That's definitely an option as well. There are moves that allow you to like get resources from the Titans as opposed to just like stopping them as like your main goal.
I like the idea you had of like being a monster farmer.
Monster farmer sounds awesome to me. I personally love the idea, especially if we're going for like a Ghibli vibe, having like monster chefs that kill these monsters and like make delicious ramen with them, right? Like that's what I want to see. We'll get there. Alyssa's going to play the Uplifted Children of Man, which is uplifted animals of one sort or another. So think Planet of the Apes, or I guess there's the Foundation series by Asimov has a bunch of like uplifted dolphins and things. But I don't think Alyssa's settled on what animal she wants to play yet, but we'll find that out. And then Jordan wants to play the Enclave of Bygone Lore, which is basically a group of like lore seekers and technologists / technology enthusiasts. So they're going to be picking through the ruins of the before to find all the lost technology and fix it up and make something cool out of it.
Anybody has played Fallout 4? Imagine the guy from that one town I forget the name of who was really into baseball but knows nothing about baseball. He picks up a baseball bat and he's like, "See this here? This is called a swatter." And like, His whole idea of baseball is that it's this like brutal sport where people are beating each other to death.
You're completely so your characters are going to be like completely misunderstanding what the technology originally did and make up something completely new for it. That sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and go to so I have made playbooks on here for everybody. If you go to the families folder on the side here, you'll see each of your names with a family. So go ahead and click on that. I've already set up your playbook on there, so it should just like give you options and show you all the stuff you have to work with. The first thing you're going to want to do is click on that starter info window that's right below the name, which will give you basically, as long as you have that open, all the information that would be in the book is on the page for you to reference. So as we go through,
wait, are you talking about the family choices one or the
the family ones? I may not have chosen some of these. So you have to. Okay, no, I chose for you, Jordan. Yeah, here I'll put that on there. Okay, so Jordan's yours should be on there now.
That works now.
Yeah, if you haven't chosen a playbook, it just shows up blank. But all right, cool. So also, I'm gonna make a family. Possibly multiple, depending, because these would be like competing factions as we fill out the world. I have a couple of ideas of what they might be, but I think I want to get a little bit of stuff from you guys first before I fill out anything. So I think we'll just go ahead and start going through these, and we can do this one at a time. So the first thing you're going to pick in that starter info section, you'll see a list of stats, as well as the criteria that you have to pick in order to get said stat. Right, so starting stats. So for Jordan, for example, if the wonders from before were widely distributed and everyone can benefit from your advice, then you get this loadout, and so on and so forth. So everyone go ahead and take a look at those and choose one of those lists. So as a point of reference for like what the stats do, reach is like your ability to diplomatize, grasp is your ability to use force, and sleight is your ability to use like subtlety and subterfuge. And this is as a family, so your character will have other stats as you zoom in, but like this is like with the faction level, how good they are at like diplomacy, force, and subterfuge. So that's what those mean. And then, but you can choose them based on the stats, or you can choose it based on the criteria, right? Because this will determine something about the world, right? We're telling ourselves and the audience something about the way your faction shapes the world we're playing.
I like mine. I picked for my starting stats, if the behemoths brought the fall to the world. I like this idea because it makes, I picked this for one main reason. It has sleight of -1, which means they're very bad at being sneaky. And I was already planning on playing these guys as very obnoxious people.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so basically, and as we choose these options, we should talk about it and make sure we're all on the same page for like what this is doing to the world. So are we down with the idea that Seth's faction, like the behemoths or monsters or whatever that Seth's faction fights, are the reason, or at least one part, like I guess there's other options we could choose that would make a different thing part of the reason, but at least like they're part of the reason why the fall happened in the first place. These monsters' existence is like a bad thing for the world and like made the fall happen. Down with that?
Yeah, I think that works.
Okay. Do we have? Do we want to go with the general idea we were talking about earlier, Seth, where they are underground and can like sense things by sound or whatever?
Mm-hmm. That's my current idea.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think, especially if they were the cause of the fall, that makes sense because their existence definitely makes it hard to have normal civilization, right? If you're worried about underground things that you can't see jumping up and attacking you based on sound, like I'm imagining this a little bit like A Quiet Place, right? Yeah. Where like the fact that they hunt by sound makes everything change for the way we interact with the world, sort of thing.
And I have kind of some ideas of what we could use that civilization has been able to recover. Yeah. Like there's ways that like people have made like sound barriers that you just don't go past this. And these people do because they're sand farmers.
Right.
And they hunt the worms.
Yep. Yeah, so we going, is everybody down with like a sort of Dune-ish / Tremors, like giant sandworms?
I don't know I don't know Dune. very well.
I mean, Dune
know they have
basically,
giant worms.
yeah, they have giant worms, and they hunt by sound. So it's pretty similar right there. They're huge. They're ginormous.
These ones aren't huge. Let me find a picture for you guys. But you keep going, and I'll find a picture.
Mm-hmm. And they don't have to be like our version of this doesn't have to be worms. But that does seem like the most obvious touchstone is something like that. Is there a spin we can put on this? Where it's not just like Dune or Tremors, stolen wholesale. Like, is there a different terrain besides like desert that might be interesting to see this sort of thing happening in?
Are they tech worms?
Ooh.
So instead of like organic.
But the idea,
oh yeah.
The idea
Seth wanted to eat them.
Yeah. This is
Seth might be a robot.
This is approximately how big they are. I sent in the Terranelli's chat what they look like.
That would be a twist. You guys are just robots, and you quote unquote eat them, but it's actually just like putting the parts inside of yourselves.
We could say they're alien of nature.
That's true. Yeah, they could be aliens from another planet.
They're actually used to be people.
That also could be a twist.
Ooh, they're.
Yeah, I guess the question would be like,
how much do we want to make Seth do cannibalism?
No,
that's true. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Let's not make an Attack on Titan where you realize, oh no, we thought we were just defending our homeland, but yeah. Spoilers for Attack on Titan, I guess.
Entirely new meaning to you are what you eat.
Yeah. I'm interested in the idea of like finding a different terrain type to have these underground things.
I mean, they could just be earthworms.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost like moles, where like they like live underground in like tunnels, kind of a thing.
Or
it could be like a foresty kind of a setting, where they like pop up like in like these giant holes.
Oh, they're like half worm, half mole sort of thing.
Yeah, something along those lines where they have like these big feelers in the front of their wormy bodies, and yeah, that could be
I just like to think that like in the middle of like these forests, there's just like these giant holes where like they pop up randomly.
Like big old burrows, yeah.
My thought was like okay, this would put us in a very Dune-like area. Was that like that they've essentially terraformed the world, so now it's like a lot of just sand because they've gone through so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like I could.
Well, I think if they made tunnels, maybe it would be that way.
Yeah, I mean, we could go along the lines of, I mean, obviously they hunt by sound, so this is like bad for people if they want to do normal, like especially it's bad for people if they had diesel punk technology. Diesel makes a lot of noise, right? Like that, I think that's one of the biggest issues that they've had is like the technology that existed before just generally attracts these things, just because of how much noise it makes. And so I like the idea that like, I also like the idea that like, maybe the things that these worms or whatever do, the tunnels that they create have opened up new possibilities for resources. So like, say, for example, there's like a whole tunnel network underneath the forest with this whatever forest now, right? And maybe the secretions that the worms leave behind or have done something to the tunnels or made, like just something that changed, like going off the terraforming idea, like the way that the worms have interacted with the world has changed it in some capacity, not made it into sand necessarily, but like has actually created new biomes or whatever. That could be fun. We could pull from Nausicaa a little bit here, which is another Ghibli film where basically there's like giant bug things and there's like a toxic jungle that's poisonous to human life, but is fine for the bugs. That's like slowly spreading as they go everywhere. I'm not sure exactly what we would do there, how it would be different, but
it's interesting. Whenever you have these giant worms, it's generally in a desert.
Mm-hmm.
I
guess the idea that it's like it's just easier. It makes more sense for them to be able to move around. But I like the idea of it being like giant moles, sort of, right? Because, I mean, what are the kind of things that moles do that are different from what worms do, right?
Oh, no. Here's the idea: they're giant naked mole rats, so they look like worms.
Right. Okay. And maybe they're so big that sometimes people only see their face and they're just like, oh, it's a giant worm. But then like, oh, they have claws once they, yeah. I think that's a little bit more original to have like basically giant badger moles or whatever, except they're naked.
Their technical term is Alaskan bullworm.
Right. But I definitely like the idea that they're like actively creating a subterranean society for themselves. Right. And that's become a thing that can be interacted with humanity now. where like before it's okay, it's just dirt underneath there, and maybe we're mining and stuff, but like, and maybe that actually interacts with the whole diesel punk thing, because I mean you need like oil and whatnot to run your machines, so maybe the thing that the moles are doing either makes that harder to do. Maybe they destroy the things that would make diesel punk technology work better, or they make it easier, depending.
But it's just more dangerous to go get it.
But more dangerous because they can sense it. Like, those are two possibilities I see.
Yeah, they dig the holes for you to go directly to it, but
but they're also around every corner. Yeah,
right.
That could be fun. Okay, let's keep that in the back of our minds and keep going through the questions here. So what about you, Alyssa? Which one do you want to choose?
I don't know. Like, I like to think that, remind me again what each three of them do again. Reach, grasp,
reach
slight.
is diplomacy. Grasp is force, like using force against things. And sleight is like subterfuge and subtlety. Because
I'm thinking of going with like a foxy wolf kind of thing, where I'm more like the sneaky
Princess
one.
Mononoke. Princess Mononoke.
Since Seth is more like the aggressor, I want to be more like the sneaky one. But I'm definitely, but I still want to be able to like hold my own in a battle, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But my choice here for like a better sleight is if you're struggling to survive in an ecosystem your ancestor species would have no chance in.
So you're good at if you chose that option, you're good at diplomacy and stealth, but not good at force. So I mean, is the idea that like maybe they've changed your native biome, like the forest or whatever, so much that you have to go underground now? Maybe you guys live underground now because like whatever, because we can imagine this as maybe the forest is all like chopped down and destroyed now because all the roots have been poisoned by the mole things.
It's a deforestation movie.
I mean, yeah, if we're going with a Studio Ghibli vibe, there's almost always going to be some sort of environmentalist message. Yeah, probably somewhere here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I pictured.
And that's fine, yeah.
Her being like super diplomatic, but I mean like, yeah, I don't know. I wish that there was an option for 0 reach and +1 grasp, +1 sleight, but
yeah,
it's all right. Because, I mean, so where are our characters actually like where's our home base? I guess.
So
that's
yes,
really
actually, one of the things that we will be doing, and I'll drag you guys to this other page. On this little map here, we're gonna draw, and probably after we finish it, I'll make it look nicer and actually make some sort of cool image with symbols and things. But we're gonna place landmarks, and like actually make a little map here that we can interact with. And that will determine a lot of things. And the way that it works is basically there is a section of land called the homeland, at least in the game terminology, where things are relatively safe and you're not in as much danger. And then there's anything beyond that, which is considered the wasteland, which is dangerous automatically to go into. So that is at least a consideration when we're thinking about there's going to be places where you're more or less safe. And then there will be other places where it's more or less dangerous all the time.
Yeah, because I don't know. So, because if we're going with the foresty vibe, then I feel like it would make more sense to choose the first one, but I don't want to be super aggressive.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Have no chance in. Yeah.
What about the middle one? If you needed to adapt to the homeland's climate or biome,
but then that's a -1 to stealth, and I
that's
definitely
true.
don't want that.
Yeah, if that's what you want to focus on.
I know, but that's the one that sounds the coolest to me. But
yeah. Well, I mean, let's consider this a chance to stretch our muscles a little bit here and get a little creative, right? So,
all right. So, I want to go with the third one.
The third one, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're struggling to survive in an ecosystem your ancestor species would have no chance in. I mean, I guess we should figure out how the moles are changing the environment then, right? Like, what are they actually doing to make this hard, at the very least, for your species?
Well, we had mentioned that they're underground in a forest. I mean, they're probably either making like maybe the air is unbreathable, or maybe there's just like less There's probably less wildlife around there because they're probably all getting eaten. So like,
Okay, so are we doing like a reverse on the normal thing where like typically in a story like this, right? The giant monsters would be the good guys in the end, and it would be like, no, they're just misunderstood. But are we going with the world before actually did find a way to coexist with nature and everything was great, even though they had diesel punk technology? Like they were careful to like keep the forest intact. And then I think these should be aliens then, right? I think these should be things from beyond this world, or at least beyond this land, right?
and disrupted
that
the
came in and
balance.
disrupted the balance, right? That makes sense.
So now
and
there's like no like food out there for us
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
survive in.
That makes sense. And that goes right into what Seth's group wants to do, which is kill the moles to eat them, because that's the only thing you can eat, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so then we have like a deforested land that your fox wolf people used to flourish in, but now, you know, they have to find a different biome they have to carve out a niche somewhere else, or at least survive in the current area they're in. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. Sounds great. What about you then, Jordan?
So I was thinking, because of my previously established concept of I don't know what I'm looking at and I don't know what I'm talking about. If the fall unleashed previously unknown technology and knowledge, which now you seek out.
Okay, so the idea would be, so if you chose that option, it would be the technology that you seek out is alien to the world that was before. So is it okay? Are these giant mole things like actually an alien species that like brought technology with them? Like, is this world? Was this world completely like environment? Like there was no high technology before the aliens came?
Could it be that the aliens aren't the mole things, and the aliens are? I sound like a conspiracy theorist. I just had to okay. But they
aliens?
like what if the aliens dropped these off to like obliterate the planet, so then later they could come back and take it over for themselves, terraform it into whatever they want.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that. Okay, so here's a possibility. So one thing I'm looking out for is like other factions I can throw in here to fill out the stuff. One of the factions is called the Stranded Starfarers, which is like you're literally aliens from another place and you're stuck here. What if that's what happened? Like some aliens showed up, dropped off their giant mole pets, and then some of them are sticking around to make sure they get the job done. And that's a faction you can deal with, is like the actual aliens and these are their giant pets. Or do we want, like that's a possibility, or do we want the aliens aren't even here, they just dropped their pets off and are going to come back in 1,000 years when the terraforming just happened?
I think it makes more sense that the aliens aren't here, because
and that brings up the possibility of them coming back during the game too.
Yeah, well, plus
right, if they aren't here already.
It would make it so it would make less sense that we're going out and hunting them as opposed to just killing them.
Yep, that makes sense. Because you don't know.
Yeah, they come back 100 years later and they're like, "What the heck, guys? You didn't finish the job."
Yeah, exactly. I like it. This is really fun. Sounds good. So let's before we move on, let me glance at the families that I was looking at. Because we're choosing like the stat options kind of change the world. I want to look at what factions I might want to add to this before we go too much further into the world building. Just so I don't throw a wrench in things late in the process. Let me find the ones I was thinking of. Okay, so you want to play the Enclave of Bygone Lore. You're playing the Order of the Titan, and you're playing the Uplifted Children. So is the idea then that did technology not exist then, at least the diesel punk technology we're referring to, until the alien showed up? Like that's the technology they have? Is some sort of like spacified version of diesel punk aesthetic tech? Is that what we're going for?
I like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So whatever the civilization that existed here before was not, at the very least, did not have the same... I guess you guys answer this question for me. What was the technology / civilization?
I think it was the
before aliens came?
typical 1950s, and then the aliens came and we created airships and stuff like that.
So I think the idea was, so if Jordan chooses the option he chose, the idea is that the technology he's working with is totally alien to us, which would either mean, and if I guess it really just depends on whether or not we want to stick with the diesel punk aesthetic, because the technology that's important to the Enclave of Bygone Lore is whatever the technology that we'll be dealing with, right? So if it's the alien stuff, as Jordan just chose, then I feel like that should be the diesel punk aesthetic technology. And whatever the world was like before, it wasn't the 1950s era, whatever, because that's what the aliens brought with them, right?
So what the aliens brought is the introduction of the diesel punk?
Yes, I think that's the way it has to work based on the choice that you just made in your playbook, right? So I think it would be fun if like you were literally just like agrarian, like herdsmen, and maybe even like medieval is the highest we've gotten here, and then all of this technology gets dropped on you, because then Jordan can have that moment where he's like, I guess this does this thing. I don't know, right?
My one thought is, then how did we not just die out completely? Or I guess
because again, the aliens weren't attacking. They just dropped giant mole things on you. And maybe they had terraforming machines that they had some sort of technology that like either breeds the moles or maintains the moles or something, right? Or maybe like, let's say a ship accidentally crash landed to the planet or something during this process. At the very least, the technology is out there to be found. And that's probably the only reason you guys were able to survive, is because this was found and used. And so you guys had to rapidly evolve technologically, right, to deal with the threat. That would be my guess. I think that makes the most sense based on the choices that have been made so far. But if we're not fine with that, we can tweak it.
Yeah. Well, then I'd almost like to think that it was like the equivalent of, we didn't have no technology. We just had like, a dial-up. And then suddenly we got this all new stuff. Or I don't know.
Like going from to the equivalent of going from dial-up to
AI.
fiber. Well, dial-up to fiber.
Well, what about
satellite internet?
This was essentially like, how about what if it was like pre-industrial revolution, and this is what caused the industrial revolution?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you guys were close enough to an industrial revolution that you could quickly figure this stuff out.
We could recognize what we were seeing.
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, because that does fit. So I'm, like around the time an industrial revolution would have been happening, this stuff appeared, and you guys were like, okay, here we go. This is what we were waiting for. Like, this is the only way we're going to be able to survive. We got to rapidly figure this stuff out. And that's why the aesthetic has developed the way it is. Because maybe the aliens themselves don't have a diesel punk aesthetic, but the way you've adapted the technology that they left here has become that aesthetic because of where you were culturally. Okay, so if that's the case, then I'm just curious what other factions might exist then. Let's take a look here. So let's see. How about we add the Gilded Company of Merchants? They believe that commerce is the key to evolution and survival, whether they're philanthropists connecting those in need to those resources, to those with resources to spare, or cutthroat capitalists taking every luxury for themselves. So these would be the guys who were like on the cutting edge of the Industrial Revolution and wanted to make money from it, sort of a thing.
These are the people we're selling the worms to.
I think that's a good option. We could probably add one more, and let's see. Do we want to do the Architects of Tomorrow, the ones that Jordan was also thinking of playing, which are like, the environmentalist people who want to save the land? That might fit nicely because of the fact that the worms are destroying everything. Or is that too on the nose?
It may be a bit on the nose. We already have the deforestation thing a little bit going on.
Yeah, I think it makes more sense to like circle it, but not like land directly on it with one faction. That makes sense. I'm just taking a look at all these to see if anything else makes sense.
The big twist at the end of the whole thing is that the aliens are actually us from a past version of the civilization. And
so
what's that movie?
Interstellar.
Is it? No. It's I'm thinking of the one with,
That is Interstellar, but there might be another one.
It's a doomsday movie. They have to go to space to go to the moon because the moon is about to crash.
I don't know what you're referencing.
Is that Interstellar? What's the movie? Okay, hold on. You got continue.
That's not Interstellar, I don't think.
Well, I was gonna say one of the playbooks is the time stream refugees. Basically people who came back in time to to save it, but that seems a little bit too crazy to just add into the middle of this. I'm just taking a glance at the rest of the factions real quick to make sure I'm not missing anything.
This is so dumb. The movie's called Moonfall.
That's hilarious.
Came out last year.
I think my mom saw it and thought it was stupid. I don't know anything about it other than that.
Oh, it's absolutely dumb. It's horrible. It's not a good movie.
One option is the evolved survivors, radicals who embraced outlawed tech in a desperate effort to survive. Few families know the dangers of the world like they do. No other can hope to survive them like they do. The catch you ask, every little thing that makes them human. So they kind of like, it's like a transhuman sort of thing, that they could be like the people who embrace the alien technology in a way that like changed them irrevocably. That could be an option. Otherwise, you know what? Let's just go with the Merchant Guild, and we can fill out more stuff as we play, I think.
Yeah, because I feel like we've already have with the last one. I feel like we already have like the family I picked is like they've completely embraced the alien technology to hunt the worms.
That makes sense.
So it's
Yep.
doesn't make sense that there's people saying, "Oh, we're
I like the idea of maybe bringing the stranded starfarers in later in the game, depending on what happens. But I think it makes sense to just leave it at your three, and then one other faction being the merchants who are trying to get rich off of all this stuff. I like that counterpoint to what you guys are doing. But other than that, I think that's a good choice to add to the mix. So let me follow along with you guys with that faction then. Okay, so the option I'm going to choose for them is the options it gives me is if the fall was a sudden and terrifying event, if the fall was a protracted struggle against extinction, or if the fall was so long ago that few can remember how it played out. I'm thinking the middle one makes the most sense. If the fall was a protracted struggle against extinction, I think that makes the most sense, right? Some time has passed, it's been a struggle, but it's not like so long ago that like no one remembers.
Yeah, a protractor struggle. It's those mathematicians that really saved us.
Yep.
Thanks, Aristotle.
Okay. 1 minus 1, 1. Okay. So they get reach 1, minus 1, grasp, and 1 sleight. Okay, cool. So I'll follow along with you guys as we go here with their stuff as well. Okay, so next thing we need to choose is traditions. So if you look at that, this is like the how they're populated, how they're styled, and how they're governed. So this is like a lot of the flavor stuff for your faction. Go ahead and take a look at the list, the options it gives you for each of those. It should be in the starter info right below starting stats. You can make one up if none of them fit. But yeah, they should give you a pretty good idea of your options.
I see the options under like the starter info, but where do we actually put the one? Where do we
top right. There's a field called traditions.
I just write it in. Okay.
So I've been writing it as populated by, and you put in the thing, comma, wearing the option, comma, governed by the option, right?
Wait, what?
Because you only have the one field to write it in, so I would just like separate the different things by commas as you're writing them in. So you choose a populace, you choose a style, and you choose.
Oh, we don't just pick one of them. Okay.
No, you pick one from each field. Sorry.
Oh, got it.
Yep. Yeah, choose one of each or invent your own is what it says there. So go ahead and share your options as you choose them, or if you want to talk them through, we can do that too.
Well, my populace is a tribe of unhinged zealots. Imagine Mad Max, but hunters.
Okay, perfect.
Wait, where do I go to find the populace on here?
So it's in the starter info.
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean, but you said pick one of each.
Yeah, so you see populace, style, and governance.
Yeah.
So you're writing them in the top right.
Oh, I understand. Because there's like 2 or 3 options in each one.
Yep.
I understand.
Yep. So for you, yours is probably a family of the same race,
Uh-huh.
right? I guess it could be a menagerie bound by phenotypic similarity. It depends on how far afield your furries go.
We'll just go the same race. That's fine.
Yeah. So what are they actually based off of then? Foxes, wolves?
I mean,
A
there's
mix
a
of both?
combination of both.
Okay. Sounds good. Got some foxy wolves.
Yeah, we do.
Cool.
Bull eyes.
I have for mine. I don't know what to pick for this. So my style is rough and extensive body art. And for governments, I didn't like any of the options, so I just put family. So it's like the idea of it's a family.
It's
like
literally a family.
Like the idea of have like a family farm. This is it's a very
It's a little mom and pop monster hunting business.
not like that. It's the idea of not tribal.
Remember,
but
hunt local.
You're like a clan, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
You're literally related by blood. That makes sense.
it's like a clan. It's like a not even necessarily all related by blood, but it's kind
It's
of
like
so
the
again,
Leaf Clan.
Native American sort of clan of that sort. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, basically, but we
Something
have to,
like a hidebound council of elders.
you do have to choose what. Yeah, exactly. What are you actually governed by? Like, is it just the elders, like the people who are oldest in the family? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it's not I don't know. It's because I'm imagining it's like a group, but it's not necessarily all blood related, but it's like there's that tribe of elders sort of feel to it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense to me. So I think I'm trying to decide what my populace should be. Should it be a loose confederacy of traders, aristocrats living off their pre-fall heirlooms, or enthusiastic but eccentric collectors? It probably shouldn't be the last one because that sounds like Jordan's. But
Sorry, wait, what?
what are the merchants populated like? Are they a loose confederacy of traders or aristocrats living off their pre-fall heirlooms?
The pre-fall heirlooms make sense. Like these are people who were there before the fall. They've just been living off it to try and keep things afloat. And
I like that too. Yeah,
it's how they put their foothold. They got their foothold in the first place.
Yeah. They were the industrial capitalists of the burgeoning new society that was happening. Yeah.
They had access to all the stuff that let them let people use the alien technology.
Yep. All right, I think they're gonna wear luxurious silks and furs then.
So where are we typing this stuff in?
Top right, there's a field called traditions.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're governed by decadent princes and decadent merchant princes and their servants. Got a little tension there. What are yours, Jordan?
Mine. My populace is demagogues and those who seek their knowledge.
Nice.
Style is bulky and concealing environment suits.
Yeah.
And we are governed by meritocratic, I don't know.
Meritocratic.
Thank you. That word, academic bureaucracy.
Okay, so basically the smartest among them get to rule.
The seemingly smartest among them.
Sure,
rule.
Yeah. I love the idea that they're just in giant hazmat suits all the time, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. And what is everybody else? Alyssa, what were your other options there?
A family
Options.
of the same race, bold dyes and scarification,
Nice.
and a council of elders.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. The next thing is landmarks. So we're gonna put stuff on the map here for that. Wait, can you guys actually see this map? Or is it just
It's just gray.
Okay, I think it should be gray. Can you see that?
Yes.
pink
yes,
stripe.
the
That I
pink,
put. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. I just want to make sure that we it wasn't dark or whatever. It wasn't like under fog of war. All right, cool. So let's go through these each at a time. What is everybody's options for landmarks for before? So Seth, what's your options for before?
I have a toxic dump that poisons the world still, ruined defenses as huge as they were feudal, and a titan's carcass crawling with scavengers. I kind of
Nice.
like the idea of a toxic dump, like this is the original crash site. And ruined defenses could work too. But I feel like
I like that one because it's so obviously based on Attack on Titan.
Which one?
Ruined defenses as huge as they were futile.
I
mean, toxic dump makes sense for alien technology and stuff.
Yeah, given we've already established like there's a crash site, like, hey, this is the crash site.
Where do you want to put that? So within the white here, that'll be the homeland. So the part of the map that's like safe relatively. And everything beyond that will be the wasteland, where it's like way more dangerous. You can place it anywhere on the map. Where would you like it to be?
Would it make more sense to be inside or outside?
It just depends. I could see it both ways. One being like we scavenged it long ago and there's not much left, so it's in the wasteland. Or it's something that's vital to everyday survival, so it's in the homeland and we're still scavenging from it.
I'm gonna put it right outside over here. And maybe it like used to be part of it, but it's so toxic that we kind of annexed it off.
Okay. Yeah, here what's the actual wording on it?
A toxic dump that poisons the world still.
Okay, perfect. A toxic that poisons the world still.
Toxic dump that poisons the world still?
Yeah, what is it?
Has
how is it
anybody
poisoning
heard
exactly?
of Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Why is it toxic and poisoning the world? Is it just like
because there are rats in their fryers? Sorry,
I'm gonna say probably what it is we were like taking things from it to like make our new technology, except we obviously didn't know what we were doing, so we accidentally like punctured like a power source or something that just leached just stuff into it.
Yeah,
and so I was saying like that's what I was saying, like maybe for a while it was part of the civilization, but then people did that, and then it just
perfect.
We had to annex it off, and
their alien gasoline leaked into the water supply, and no one wants to go there anymore.
Essentially,
okay, perfect. Cool, Alyssa, what are your before options?
Before options are the ruins of a large zoo, a research facility haunted by failed experiments, a museum of extinct species and biomes.
All right, up to you. Which one would you like to put down?
Well, considering I'm a talking fox/wolf, I feel like a facility haunted by failed experiments kind of makes sense.
Ooh.
Okay, well, yeah. What does that mean exactly? Is it people did experiment? Because like, there's obviously like, okay, there's a race of fox beings and there's humans. Well, how did they interact before and after the fall? Then, like, is this when the humans started getting all this technology, they then capture some of the fox people and were experimenting on them? Or I guess okay, so this is supposed to be a before landmark. So the idea, I guess, would be experiments that they were doing on your fox people before the aliens came. So maybe
so were we sentient before or because of the experiments? I guess that's really the question.
So, it sounds like we had pre-industrial technology. So it's like, unless there's magic, which totally possible, there could have been. It seems unlikely that at least they would use technology to have done that. It's totally up to you, Alyssa. I could see it either way. I would say either you were already sentient and they captured you and did like Nikola Tesla style experiments on you. Not like not modern mad scientist, but like whatever you could do with almost just industrial technology or pre-industrial technology. Or you were made sentient through magic, and that's what the experiments were. That seems the most likely. I guess the third option could be whatever the alien technology, whenever the aliens came, it did something to you and made you sentient.
Yeah, but again, this is supposed to be before.
But this is also supposed to be a before landmark,
well,
yeah.
But that's why I'm like, well, what if it's less about like them trying to make us sentient in these experiments and more just like this was just like a research facility where they were doing experiments on animals, you know, like that seems more likely.
Mhm.
And then the technology came and they were like, oh, we could do so much more now with them. And like, that can be the after. You can still have the before them experimenting on animals without the.
So then what do you want to be true about your people then? Did they become sentient through intervention or were they always sentient?
Let me see.
Because that will definitely flavor the relationship you have with the humans on this planet, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I think maybe it makes more sense that we were around before, like.
That's what I was thinking too.
Before,
I feel like it makes.
We were probably just really separated from humans. Like people were like.
You're probably in their myths as forest spirits or something, but you didn't
Right.
really interact with them a whole bunch. And then you were forced out in the open by the fall.
Yeah. Well, then maybe a museum of extinct species and biomes makes sense then because maybe they captured some like other creatures that are also like sentient and then they died out because of this. So maybe it's not just like fox wolf things, but there's also.
I'm imagining this as like a museum of curiosities, a la what's the guy who made the circus? What's his name again?
Oh, Barnum
Barnum and Bailey?
Yeah.
Whatever that guy's name is from A Greatest Showman or whatever.
Showman, yeah.
Yeah. That sort of thing where it's like weird curiosities and because it would have like an 1800s sort of vibe, right?
Right.
That seems likely.
P.T. Barnum.
P.T. Barnum, thank you. Yeah. So it wouldn't have been as crazy. Like they weren't extinct when the museum was made. But after the fall happened, this is the only thing anyone has left record-wise of these things that used to exist. Okay, cool. Where do you want that to be? It probably makes sense to be inside the homeland, probably, right?
Probably, yeah. So people can be like, "Ooh, look at these extinct mythological creatures."
Yeah. Go ahead and ping somewhere, and I'll go ahead and place it there.
Okay. So wait, this whole.
I'd say inside the white is homeland.
Okay, let's do more like the outside.
Okay, towards the edge.
Yeah.
And then what is the exact wording on that?
It says a museum of extinct species and biomes.
Extinct species and biomes. Perfect. Very fun. What about yours, Jordan? In before.
So before I was thinking secret research center full of untamed wonders.
Okay. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it? One that I've given a lot of thought to. Let me tell you.
Read it again. I'm
a secret research center full of untamed wonders.
Untamed wonders. So is this the sort of thing where untamed wonders seems either like it's living or it at least is dynamic in some way? So it's not just like a piece of rock or something, right? It's not like, here's a piece of coal that we used to use.
It doesn't have anything to do with Alyssa's race, does it?
I don't think it's not inherently.
Okay.
It could.
What if it's like a place where they studied the alien creatures that came here?
Oh, like maybe because if like a spaceship, because if a spaceship crashed, maybe the aliens died in the crash and we have their bodies.
Yeah.
And like
that makes sense.
And maybe like the worms weren't the only things that came; they're just the only things that are still bugging us.
So
right.
This is basically Area 51.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Cool. Where do you want to place it? Alien invasion in the 1800s and how they would have dealt with that is so fascinating to me. This obviously isn't Earth because, fox forest spirits, but yeah.
I want
That's
to
fine.
go.
Maybe not your Earth.
I was gonna say we got that explains the whole what do they call that Tessie? What is it?
Oh,
The
Loch
Loch Ness
Ness Monster.
monster, you know,
Nessie.
right?
She was just a mole person.
So I'm thinking
Bigfoot, unicorns, you know, that stuff all really existed. Dragons.
unicorns don't have big feet, do they?
I definitely like the idea of like the aliens have at least been scouting out this planet for a little while before they drop the moles. So like there's probably myths and legends of UFOs or whatever that like existed
I
before
want
that
to
that are part of your
believe.
myths. Yeah.
What do you think? Option A or option B?
Let's go A.
The Canadian option.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because it's option A.
Oh, da.
What is the actual wording on it again?
Yeah, the wording is a secret research center full of untamed wonders.
Full of untamed wonders. Oh, I just remember these are actually in the character sheet, so I can just copy paste them from there. I'll do that next time. Okay, for mine, I have a vault built to preserve a priceless heritage, a haven for the rich and powerful that lasted longer than most, a huge and somber building where the fate of nations was decided. I'm going to choose that last one, a huge and somber building where the fate of nations was decided, right? This is whatever council or whatever back when civilization still existed met to like whatever nations got together to discuss like, okay, aliens have arrived. What do we do? So it's like whatever the big old diplomatic building where they all met.
The United Nations, but before.
Yeah, the 1800s versions of the United Nations. Yeah. Let's see.
That was called Great Britain back in the day.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's go ahead and put it here. I'll copy paste this. Huge and somber building where the fate of nations was decided. Cool. Seth, what are your fall options?
I'm trying to understand what this means.
Yeah, so Behemoth is what the game calls the monsters.
Okay. Well, I'm just like the broken shell of a mighty capital laid low by the first. Oh, so like the remains of the place.
The remains of the city.
When it said broken shell, I was like, but like
the shell of the beasts.
Yeah, that's what I was confused. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, they're just trying to be poetic.
Shell of a mighty capital laid low by the first behemoth attack.
The reality tear the behemoths crawled from.
We already established that they came down.
Yeah. The unused chassis of a vehicle made to kill behemoths.
No. Wait. Oh. What if it's a terror in reality?
No, yeah, I like it could be. I mean, magic is a fun thing to throw in here. Like, what if the aliens invaded not through conventional means, but through like weird magic portals?
Are you guys cool with there literally just being a portal just above the? Oh, it could be beating in
All
the sky.
I'm
Anyway.
gonna say,
weird.
all I'm gonna say is stop stealing my video game idea. I may or may not have been writing the story already. Also, I think it would be cool if it was underground.
That's what I was just about to say.
If the portal was underground.
Yeah. And that's where obviously the moles came from. Yeah. Some big cave system or something.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of them falling from the sky.
I mean, I don't know if that makes sense though. Like if they're giant moles.
Giant mole. Actually, I guess if giant moles were falling from the sky, they'd probably splat, wouldn't they?
Exactly right.
Okay, fine.
Are we going with the reality tear?
Mighty capital, or the reality tear the behemoths crawled from.
Either's fine with me.
Dang it! I kind of like the idea of the reality tear. The thing is, how many things? Oh, yeah, I didn't see on the map. How many? Okay, you know what? We don't have a lot of things outside of it, so let's go with that. Wait. But how did an alien ship crash if they came from underground?
It's a really, really bad crash, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless
mean,
the
it could
crash is
be
underground too.
I was gonna say it could be like they conventionally came from the sky, or maybe let's say this: their ships don't necessarily have to be underground. They have these giant beasts that terraform things. That doesn't mean that they're like a subterranean race themselves, right? So maybe they could
There's
still come through
also
portals.
a thing called beams.
That's what I was just thinking. Like they had to beam it down.
Yeah.
I thought you said beans for a second. I'm like, what the heck does beans?
Like there
have
could
to
have been
do
a
with
portal that
anything?
appeared in the atmosphere that their ships came through, and then they beamed down the.
Yeah, they have to actually see where they're placing the portal to get to place
Right.
it.
That could be a whole thing.
I like that. Maybe let's put that.
So reality tear the MS crawled from.
Let's put that over here. Just so it's not all.
Where'd you ping? I was zoomed in.
I accidentally put down a circle, so it's a little
perfect.
little blue circle down there.
Perfect. I love it. Okay. Love me some good reality tears. Alyssa, what are your fall options?
I mean, I feel like we have to go with the obvious one, which is the site of a genocidal massacre.
Oh.
Okay, yep. I don't know if that was the obvious choice, but sure.
I think it's the obvious choice. I mean, maybe it's not my people specifically, but some other bestial, majestic.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if there is multiple beast races that existed, yeah.
Like
okay,
the
where's
fox
that?
wolf people got away, but not the unicorns or whatever.
Right.
The site, let's see. Well, I think it must be probably pretty close to where it all started then.
So maybe here?
Did we say reality terror the behemoths crawled from? Well, I was thinking, well, because it wouldn't be like in a safe place necessarily. Or does this have to be in a safe place?
Well, it's just the site of a genocidal massacre, so like, it might just be a memory at this point, right? It's not like that there's necessarily anything happening there currently.
Okay.
Either one makes sense to me. Inside or outside the homeland.
I was thinking more outside.
Sure.
Like close to where the behemoths first crawled out, because then there would be less chance of them being able to like get away and like react quickly.
Sure. How about over here on the side?
Yeah, that works.
Perfect. Sounds great. The site of a genocidal massacre. So pleasant. All right, Jordan, what are your fall options?
On my face, on my knee. A spot where the laws of physics were unraveled, where it's just kind of what I like.
Yeah.
A redoubt where
It's like a fortress.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Where the miraculous science from before almost averted the fall. Or the research center that first understood the fall's root cause.
Yeah. First or the third option seemed like the most likely to me.
Yeah.
But if you want to go with a spot where the laws of physics were unraveled, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay. Where and what, right? Like, what does it mean when the physics have unraveled, and where do you want to place this? Like, is this just like, oh, there's anti-gravity here and we can float around? Or is it like, because I assume it would be something related to the technology of the aliens, so what sort of stuff would they be using? Whether or not it went wrong, I assume it would probably be part of their terraforming effort in some way. Though I suppose it could be something that you guys found of the aliens' technology that you used in a wrong way to make something go wrong. I'm just trying to think. I mean, gravity is the obvious one to play with. Either like super heavy gravity or super light gravity. What other laws of physics can we mess with?
For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
So like kinetic energy just doesn't happen. I feel like you just die.
That's a little thing. That's kind of a bad thing to mess with.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could go in the other direction, and that you could things can suddenly have energy or momentum that don't need it, or that don't have it coming from somewhere.
Okay, so like wild whirlwinds of physical movement and stuff. Weird currents of energy that just like throw things around.
Yeah, or we could play with light. That's another thing that we could.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what if there's something with light where instead of just seeing directly in front of you what's actually in front of you, there's some sort of weird distortion that it lets you see in an entirely different spot in the world.
That's a wormhole.
Yeah. But you can't go through it. You just see it.
Okay. Maybe there might be some way to get to go through it, but yeah, I like that. It's another weird rift in the world, but yeah, like it looks on another place. I like it. Where do you want to put it?
My first inclination for whatever it was is that it would be funny to put it where the toxic dump is, but
And yeah, I mean, we can stack these too. Like if you think it makes sense for them to be like connected.
My thought is this is where the aliens came from.
Yeah.
Like this is their portal.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. You can see their home planet, but you can't go to it.
oh yeah, that'd be
That's
fun.
kind of terrifying.
So that would probably be somewhere that nobody wants to populate anymore.
Yeah. Maybe all the way up in the left corner.
Oh yeah. Like
Over here.
oh yeah, I forgot that we can go outside. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Perfect. Okay, and then for mine, we have the fall, a huge transport line choked with abandoned vehicles, a business district or eerily undamaged and devoid of life, or a cache of doomsday weapons built for the fall.
I feel like the vehicles one doesn't work very well in the world we established.
Mm-mm. A business district eerily undamaged and devoid of life is kind of boring.
Yeah.
So let's go with a cache of doomsday weapons built for the fall. What are those?
The best diesel punk can give us.
Which is
Well,
Like, it's not-
This has happened before the fall?
it would built for the fall. So this would have been something we made when the invasion was happening, like to try to fight back. Probably
Was it built by us or was it built by the aliens? Maybe the
it could be built by the aliens.
Maybe it's doomsday weapons from the aliens, and it's a
Yeah.
cache that nobody knows about.
Yeah. Or at least no one knows that they are a cache of doomsday weapons. Like they probably know that this site exists, but they don't know what they're looking at. Maybe.
Suddenly sounds like Halo.
So yeah, is it just like a bunch of nukes basically that they just like maybe it's like I love to think that like the aliens are so unconcerned with your efforts to stop them that they just like set up a giant window to look into their home planet, left all of the moles alone, accidentally crash landed a spaceship but never went to retrieve it, and has left a stockpile of nukes just in the case they are going to use it, right, if they need to like destroy the planet instead of terraforming it, like if something goes wrong, but they don't care. They don't think you're smart enough to ever use it. I love these the aliens
cocky.
are so arrogant. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, I
already have an idea for two other factions that I can make in the shadows here that I think could be relevant maybe in the future. Cool. I'm gonna put that over in the corner over here in the wasteland. So off to the right. All right, perfect. And then Seth, we have a threat.
I don't like any of my options. Is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
technically you can invent your own, so we can.
Oh, because mine is a threat. So there's a tall rune, now a monster's airy.
Yep.
A horde of ravenous parasites fleeing the corpse of their last host. And an artifact of inhuman origin that the behemoths fiercely guard.
Oh, I like that one, though. That could be like whatever terraforming machine has been guiding the moles.
Oh, inhuman origin, right.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sound, so they're automatically drawn to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
It's either like the terraforming computer that's like has all the plans for this, or maybe a terraforming machine that is doing this alongside the moles, or maybe just the control center that controls the moles themselves, right? One of those three is probably true. Where do you want to place this?
You know what? It's supposed to be a threat. Let's put it near the toxic dump. Let's put it like right here.
Perfect.
So it's starting to get close.
Love it. So the reality terror that they came from is like over here, but and yeah, probably honestly, the ship that was holding the terraforming machine is probably this one right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it like fell out as it crashed or something.
Well, my idea was that we had some stuff to throw, like we were able to make enough of a fuss about it that it crashed and like, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, cool. I love it. So we'll go ahead and put that right there. And then, Alyssa, what are your threats?
Carrion birds smart enough to herd and harvest livestock.
That's terrifying.
A locust swarm so wide that famine is sure to follow. Extreme weather upsetting the food chain.
The last one would make sense if there's a terraforming effort, right? That's going to make problems for the ecosystem and maybe cause extreme weather. But honestly, any of the other two also make sense for that too, right? Like the whole ecosystem is getting screwed up, so any three of these is fine.
I think it'd be interesting to add on carrion birds because it's like that's like another like species that's like sentient kind of, and they're just like, we're just trying to survive, dude, and like we're just coming and like taking your stuff and like going off. Yeah,
they would definitely be one of the ones to survive, right?
Right.
That makes total sense to me. Where do you want to place them?
Let's see here. Hold on. Why is my mouse like not popping up? There we go. Place some kind of in maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a specific. Do you have a place in mind? It doesn't. I was thinking somewhere outside the homeland.
Yeah.
Because like they probably come to the homeland to like raid our area.
Yeah. Let's put it on the left here, maybe.
Okay, that's fine.
It's a nice empty space over there. Okay. And then Jordan, what are your threats?
My inability to speak.
A threat to the homelands, indeed.
Yeah. A crude tribe of raiders using advanced tech.
Okay.
Which doesn't make sense that it's a crude tribe, but it's advanced tech. A valley where lights appear in the sky, which we kind of established is already happening.
That's true, yeah.
A ruin where creations of science now rule. The valley where lights appear in the sky.
I was going to say, if we wanted to double up, maybe we choose that one, place it on top of the spot where the laws of physics were unraveled, right? And then we just say, okay, there's the giant portal that you can see their world from. That's the lights in the sky. And then there's other weird physics things that happen there because of this rift, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just, don't need that.
It's basically created an Aurora Borealis. And instead of being beautiful and awe-inspiring, everybody's like, crap!
Aurora Borealis, centralized in your kitchen.
Thank you.
So we have those up there. I like it. And then mine, cannibalistic raiders who have refused all attempts to negotiate, a dwindling but vital resource, or privileged survivors hoarding knowledge from the world before. I'm thinking a dwindling
vital resource, make it
vital
bananas.
resource.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I was just gonna say do that and make it bananas, but I was just kidding.
I think we should choose that one anyway, but I'm trying to think of what would be a vital resource that would have existed before the fall that is now slowly dying out because of this new terraforming change. I mean, it could be just like a food source.
Oxygen.
It also could be something the aliens brought with them, though, right? We're using their stuff in some ways to power our new technology that we've all created, right? But maybe there's some alien fuel or something that we're running out of, or I don't know. What do you guys think? Should it be something from the before that's slowly dying out because of the terraforming changes, or should it be like alien technology in some way?
I mean, it makes sense that there would be something that we had before that we just can't make anymore now that the things have happened like they have. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, what would be something that like happened recently, maybe that like would have made something like this start to dwindle? Because it's like a dwindling but vital resource. So something's happening to make this a threat in the immediate, right? I mean, it could just be food. I'm trying to think of like what.
Well, but my whole thing is though that there's not a lot of worms left. Maybe no, that doesn't make any sense.
No, that would be a good one for you.
Yeah,
but this is like the merchants that has a dwindling. It's like a threat to them is the idea. So
spices.
What is the greatest threat to consumerism? People being satisfied.
Fair enough.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Wait, no, let's not do drugs again. No more drugs.
So we're already low on water. Do we or food? Do we want to be low on water too?
Yeah, because like
so generic.
Yeah, I know. It needs to be more specific than that, but it needs to be weighty enough that it would be. Because it can't just be, it's just bananas. Because okay, there's a bunch of other food.
What if we had gotten really close to discovering electricity, but since this has happened, for some reason the planet just doesn't generate electricity as much anymore.
Well, yeah, so maybe it's like a precious metals.
Is kind of a myth.
What about precious metals? Because they're digging up the earth.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because I mean, like gold and copper and that sort of stuff, like is used for wiring and whatnot. So I think that makes sense as like a dwindling resource. All right, I'm gonna put this in the homeland then. So maybe like this right here, right, is where like some of the last of the mining is done. But it's in danger. All right, cool.
My
Seth,
last one is obvious.
A haven.
A mobile bar where veterans traditionally meet to toast the living and the honored dead. That's the only one that makes sense. Because my family's ain't gonna have some stupid sensory deprivation chamber.
Yeah. So I guess where it is now, if it's mobile, so I guess I moved around, but
let's put it right at the edge.
Literally
right
all
here.
of yours. All of yours have been in the wasteland until now.
I'll put them right there.
Very fun. All right, a mobile bar. Very good. Alyssa, what about your havens?
I have 3 choices. I think I'm leaning towards one, but I want to see what you guys think. Pristine waterfall hidden from sight, a shrine atop a sheer cliff, and a secret glen covered in tribal art.
I'm leaning towards the last one.
Yeah, ditto.
What was it again?
A sacred glen covered in tribal art. I think that makes sense too because according to my thing, I have bold dyes, so makes sense that like we would be. Yeah,
you have a sacred grove that has like these like trees that give you these leaves or whatever or plants that give you dyes, and you have like your sacred rituals there, and yeah, that makes sense. Where's that? I assume it's in the homeland somewhere.
Yeah. Let's kind of make it far away from. I think it makes sense to. I mean, I know all my stuff has like been like on this side, but like maybe that makes sense though that like this whole side of the area is like ours because we were separated from, human society for the longest time.
Like
so, yeah.
Very fun. All right. Sacred Glen, covered in tribal art. Jordan, what about yours?
So the one,
An observatory where one could see the entire universe given time. That's fun.
that is fun. It's really, all of them are kind of fun choices. There's also
Do you want to read the
and-
other ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the observatory, then there's also immaculate and neatly ordered halls of quietly humming machines.
I like that one a lot.
It's very Matrixy,
Yeah.
but good.
I'm imagining just like a hallway full of mechs, just like slowly puttering.
Eventually, we'll fight them back. Or a temple to ancient knowledge, full of statues and tall, elegant windows.
Any one of those sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards the middle one since it can give us a more diesel punk aesthetic, right?
That's true. Yeah, let's do that. I like that.
Cool. Where do you want to place that?
I feel like it would either be pretty close to the research center or like pretty far out and away so it doesn't quite get discovered. So either at the research center or maybe around here.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, up to you. You could double up if you wanted to. It's always an option.
Yeah, I think I'll double up on the research center.
Sounds good. Makes sense. It's this game has a lot of landmarks, and landmarks can get added really easily. So the more we can double up on things, probably helpful, just to not get
I'm cool with that.
overcrowded.
Yeah.
Oops. There we go. Cool. And then for my haven, I will choose. Let's see. We have a vast wine cellar, each bottle and drum holding ancestral treasures. A penthouse perched above its owner's once vast dominions, or hot spring baths carved in stone older than history. I'm going to go with the hot spring baths because we got to get that anime vibe in here, you know?
I will say I liked the idea of having a penthouse just because it just doesn't make sense.
You know what? I'm actually more interested in a vast wine cellar. Let's go with that one. Let's see. Should that be? I'll have that be over here.
Sorry, what did you pick? Sorry, I had to step away for a second.
I picked a vast wine cellar, each bottle and drum holding ancestral treasures.
A vast wine center, otherwise known as a cry room.
Right, exactly.
I was gonna say that could have been your dwindling but vital resource.
Alcohol, yeah, fair enough. Honestly, that's kind of funny. but I think the idea is this is supposed to be a haven, and combining it with the threat would be probably bad.
Oh, I know. It would have been funny if you decided.
No, yeah, it would have been.
Vital resource was.
People can't forget about the problems.
Yep. Okay, cool. So the next step is to decide history. So your family's history tells you their recent fortunes and their relationships with the other families. Pick other families for your history questions and gain and give points of treaty. Treaty is what we're going to spend in the game to interact with the factions and help or hinder them. It's kind of like a resource you have on other factions. So let's go in order again. Seth, your history questions, which are listed
I see them
on the right. Yep.
Yeah.
So go ahead, you ask those questions, and us as the other factions will answer them.
Which of you has given us reason to believe you know things about the behemoths we don't?
Probably Alyssa or Jordan's faction.
I was say I thought Jordan's faction made more sense, but
That makes sense. No, because he would be into the technology side of it.
yeah.
What's the name of Jordan's faction again?
The faction of action.
Well, we'll have to come up with like actual names for them, but for now you can put the Enclave of Bygone Lore. That's the game name for them.
Okay. Do we just want to do all of them right now?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, so we should be marking this though, actually. So on the left, you'll see treaty next to the history questions. All of you should be looking at this section right now because we'll be putting treaty there. Go ahead and add. So Jordan, you will take 2 treaty on the Order of the Titan, which is Seth's family. So there should be a thing to add a slot for treaty, and you want to list 2 treaty on them, right? Cool. Next question.
Which of you fought alongside us in the last war and let us down at the worst possible moment?
Ooh, is that Alyssa?
Oh, maybe.
Right? That could be fun. The forest spirit fox things were helping you fight and then just gave up at one point.
Well, maybe we tried to go protect our other foresty friends, and then
once they all died, you became hopeless. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I get 2 treaty on you.
Yeah. I'd like to think that, like, yeah, it was. It seems at the very least in the mythology of the world, you guys are forest spirits. Whether or not you actually are, right? You know, who knows?
We're just like average beings.
Yeah, we're just foxes, guys. But yeah, there's probably a whole host of different animal things that like were the mythological forest spirits of the world. Cool. And then that's the last question there.
Give me a second. I just realized I can add that Jordan has 2 treaty on me. I can actually add that myself.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know
that's true. Everybody should be listing each faction in their treaty thing because it will give you options to put treaty on them or.
What's the one that you are, Caleb?
Yeah, oh man, I forget the name of it now. It's called the Gilded Company of Merchants. Yes, just merchants. It makes sense.
I'm just putting down enough that I know what they are before thing. So then, which of you currently hosts the greatest hero of the last war in a respected role?
I'll take that one.
That does make sense. Like,
yeah, some important aristocrat who had combat ability. You know, he's a great hero. Whether or not he even fought, right? It could have just been like a guy who was like really philanthropic, helped like supply the war effort, right? Could have been a thing. So 1 treaty on each other. Okay.
That is all my questions.
Perfect. Order of the Titan. So you got 1 on us, or we got 1 on you for that?
We take 1 treaty on each other.
Oh, perfect.
So is it just 1 and 1, or is it 0 and 0?
Yeah, 1 and 1. Yeah, because they don't cancel each other out. This is just like they can both exist simultaneously.
Okay.
All right, Alyssa, what are your questions?
Okay. Which of you came to our rescue and helped us build a community?
I could see anyone doing that one. Probably not my guys.
Maybe me, and maybe that's why it hurt so much when you like abandoned us.
Sure.
So you get another +2 treaty on us.
There's also say how and they say when.
Yeah.
So how did you come to their rescue and helped us build a community, and when did you do this?
Or
I guess Alyssa decides.
Well, I have to decide how,
and Seth decides when.
1 second.
Yeah, I guess like you probably like brought us in like when like the aliens like first came in. You were like, come, like, you know, like we were like running away from our forest, and you were like, oh my gosh, like you're real, and just like you're like, okay, like come, and we
need to stand against these things. Yeah.
Well, I imagine my group, like it took them a little while to settle themselves, so maybe it was like a few years into it. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
And I helped you just by like, because we had like probably here's how to give you a gist of it. Here's how I imagine these characters. These are, like I said, Mad Max mixed with like Mad Max hillbilly / hunter people. So they're very like, what's the word? They're very not frugal, but very, they're the kind of builders. Like, how do I word this? Very much the kind of people just to like take something and kind of throw it together to make some sort of like machine to make it work. And so they quickly were able to like throw like alien technology together to make stuff to defend themselves. And so after that is probably, so that's why I say like it probably took them a little bit to get like up and running, but
Sure.
not too long. So
Give them 2 treaty on you is what it
all
says.
right, all right.
So yeah.
And I have to define what when.
I think you already did, right? Like when was like a few years after the invasion started.
Yeah.
So cool.
Okay. Which of you is related to those who uplifted us? Tell us how you found out, and they explain their relationship to your progenitors.
So these questions don't necessarily have to have people to answer them. If you're not interested in being uplifted,
yeah, I feel like we've established that like we just are.
Yeah, you just existed before. Yeah.
Necessarily.
So we can just ignore that question probably.
Okay. Which of you hunted us as animals, realizing their mistake far too late? Yeah, that's
definitely me. Yeah.
Yep. So that museum is probably because of you guys, the merchants. Yep. So I take 2 treaty on them.
Okay, perfect. All right, since Jordan is still talking there, we'll go to mine. So my questions say, everyone, like it or not, has to trade with your company. Take 1 treaty on all other families. That's the first thing it says. So
you have treaty on us.
Yeah, I did get an additional treaty on you and you and you, all of them.
Now you're just marking this on your sheet, right? Like we don't need to mark these.
So we can both mark them, and we probably maybe should. So there's a space on your sheet to mark how much they have on you as well.
Oh, like on the classic treaty info, or
no? So it says on us and on them on either side of the faction name.
Right. So I marked mine. So I need a. Okay. Because I didn't mark.
We have 1 on you.
No, you have 2. It says take 2 treaty for all my questions.
Yeah, but I think you got 2 treaty on us. We didn't get any on you for that. Right? Because we owe you now because we hunted you as animals is the idea.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I think you can just write a 1 on us.
On
for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think that means Seth, I think, has 4 on me then.
Okay.
Yep. Total. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
And then the other questions it has here is, which of you came to our rescue when a deal went way south? Give them 2 treaty on you. I'm thinking this might be Jordan's faction, since they have like access to the technology and are probably helping us with stuff. So I'll just say that for now. We can ask Jordan as well. So they have 2 treaty on us. Which of you harbors a guild of information brokers? Get 1 treaty on them for their failure to rein in your rivals, is what it says.
I don't feel like
this could be no one, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Sounds good. Let's take a look at Jordan's and just see if like any of them are obviously that makes sense. So his say, which one of you is civilization's best chance to regrow? Maybe Seth or Alyssa?
Yeah. I have the weapons.
Right? Seth,
I guess it just depends on your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, they answer, right? So that's
right. So then I think that would be Seth then, because I think the technology wouldn't think that the spirit animals are going to be the ones to rebuild necessarily.
Yeah, the fact that the Order of the Titan can actually deal with these monsters is a big boon.
Yeah.
So give them 2 treaty on you, so you get two treaty on.
Got it.
On Jordan's. Which of you has seen the true power of our technology?
I feel like probably you, Caleb.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me mark that. Wait, what does it say? Take 2 treaty on each other. Okay.
He's actually seeing your technology. Our technology is kind of our what I'm looking for. Bodged together? I don't know what the right word is.
And then for some reason, the question, I'm going to look this up. The question is repeated, but it has a different treaty option. So let me look real quick in the actual book. I think it might have been written in wrong. Let's see. Gilded Company of Merchants. No, sorry. This is Enclave of Bygone Lore that we're looking at. Their history questions are... Yeah. Which one of you holds the brightest mind of the homeland?
That's Alyssa.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Really?
I think so. That makes sense to me.
We have the most wisdom of all of them.
Yeah, exactly. Give them 1 treaty on you, so you get 1 on Jordan's.
Okay.
And Jordan's
Cool.
back right as we're
Okay. Sorry. Dad called.
Yeah.
Really needed to take that call.
No, absolutely fine. We just because other people are answering the questions, we just read off your questions. So we decided which one of you is your questions are which one of you is civilization's best chance to regrow? We thought Seth's faction makes the most sense for that one because he's fighting the monsters. Which one of you has seen the true power of our technology? I thought it was me. Since we're the most normal of the factions. It would probably deal a lot. And the last question, which is worded wrongly on the sheet here, but in the book it says, which one of you has the brightest mind of the homeland? And we thought Alyssa's faction makes sense for that because they have wise fox spirit people, sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And what was the one that was on yours that you were going to ask him about?
Oh, yeah. So mine we thought it made sense for you to be this one. And one of my questions was, which one of you came to our rescue when a deal went way south? And we thought that might make sense for you guys.
Okay. Yeah.
So, cool. I guess I'll ask you this question too then, Jordan. For the one question that another Seth or Alyssa thought they had, but maybe you have this one. We can double up on this if we want to. The other question was, which of you harbors a guild of information brokers? Do you happen to have a guild of information brokers?
I mean, yeah, obviously, because...
Makes sense to me.
Because the very first thing was the demagogues and those who seek their knowledge.
Perfect. So then you get another treaty on us. So I think you have 5 total on my faction.
Dang.
Yeah.
And I thought I had a lot.
So then I should have 5 on them, not on us.
Yes,
Yeah.
on them is where you should put 5.
Okay.
I have 3 on you.
You have
So
3 on me.
Yep.
Okay, so for us, I put 3.
Yep.
Okay.
And then what are your guys's for with him, just so we can make sure everybody's is lining up?
I have 2 on he has 2 on us, and I have 2 on them.
So it should read 2 on both sides for Seth's faction.
Okay.
And then Alyssa.
I have 1 on you, Jordan.
Okay.
And that's it.
And then I don't have any on. Okay.
Okay, cool. From there,
Caleb, did you read my faction names for everybody?
I saw them. I didn't read them off, but
Okay.
yeah, they were certainly interesting. Would you like to read them off for us?
Sure. So Seth says Sethy Boys Titan Smiting. Caleb's is Clave
official name right there.
Yeah, official name. Caleb's faction is Clave Forgets the Monies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alyssa's is Foxy Puppy People.
Very good. Okay, so next is choose resources. So your resources say what advantages your family has and what they lack. You'll have a list there. Pick 2 surpluses and gain the rest as needs. So me, for example, I have listed for resources. I take 2 of the following as surpluses and the rest as needs. I can choose barter goods, artisans, recruits, medicine, and prestige. So you guys should all have listed in resources that same list, and you can choose 2 of them as surpluses and the rest are needs.
Under where? Under assets?
Tech, data, and resources. It's right below lifestyle and doctrine, right above custom family moves.
Oh, okay, I see it.
So you can add in those slots there for which ones you want to have as surpluses and which ones you want to have as needs.
Okay, I feel like our job is to be the scouts, right? Like we're not the brute force ones, but we're the ones that go out and figure out where the worms are so you guys can go out and attack, right? Like that's
Makes
our
sense.
job.
And at least if you're working with the Order of the Titan to do that stuff, I mean, there's plenty of other things you can do. But it doesn't sound like we're all necessarily all ganging up to save the planet yet. Like that will have to be a thing that happens in the fiction. And like my faction especially is not going to be just like gung-ho for fighting mole people. But
I probably have weaponry and transport.
Makes sense.
Man, do I pick morale or do I pick fresh water? It's hard.
I'm going to choose, I have prestige and artisans as my surpluses. So I'm, people think well of me generally. And I have skilled like craftsmen and artisans and, specialized people at my disposal, but I need recruits. So we're lacking in the general family population department. We need medicine. So either like a disease has been troubling us and we've had to use a bunch of medicine to like stave it off, or we just don't have a whole lot to go around in general. And then also I don't have I have barter goods as a need, so fitting with that dwindling resource threat, we're generally running out of things to sell to people.
Yeah, my needs are prestige, scouts, and recruits. Not a lot of people want to go be monster hunters.
Yeah. And it makes sense that you'd have a need of prestige. It doesn't sound like any of your people are very...
Not a classy job.
Prestigious,
so in my case, Caleb, what would the difference for mine be, the difference between recruits and scouts be?
Recruits would be just general... Actually, there's actually like a whole... These are listed in the book. Let me find it. Where is this? They have like a whole blurb for this. Let me find it. Yeah, there we go. 65. Nope, that's not right. Where is this? Sorry, I'm trying to... Oh, here we go. What did you say? Recruits and scouts?
Scouts, yeah.
Okay, so if you had a surplus of recruits, your family is bustling with people. You may... Actually, do you want to know if you have a need for these or if you have a surplus for these?
Surplus.
Are you sure? Okay, so having a surplus of recruits means your family is bustling with people. They may not be particularly skilled or handy, but in terms of raw manpower, no one comes close.
Okay.
Yeah, and then having a surplus of scouts means your guards, patrols, or map makers ensure you're well informed about the surrounding area. Reports regularly come in on the geography and inhabitants of the land around you.
Okay, I think it makes sense that I have a surplus of scouts then still. Okay.
Okay.
But do I want to be have great morale and be like, we can do this, guys, and restore the world? Or do I want fresh water? Oh, that's hard.
I feel like if you have fresh water, it would be easier to get morale.
Right? But I feel like we're supposed to be like the wise ones, right? And I feel like morale, can come with wisdom.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. Is it like, is it just that I have fresh water, or by having fresh water, now you all also have fresh water?
You have a surplus of fresh water, your faction specifically, but you could use it to help another faction if you would like.
Because I'm going to put fresh water as a need.
Yeah, so for a need is fresh water, you must carefully ration your water supply and recycle as much as you can, lest you be forced to risk illness with every drink and lose all semblance of hygiene.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense?
Makes sense.
What about you, Jordan? Oh. Let's see if he...
Should we take a break?
Well, he did write it down. We're going to read off what he wrote down here. He had a surplus of engineering and progress. Makes sense, right? He has, and the way those are worded, having lots of engineering means you have skilled architects and engineers able to put advanced plans together and the skills and tools needed to construct them. And for progress, having a surplus of that means your family understands more of the workings of the world than most and have used that to improve their quality of life. They're better able to maintain the marvels of the world before, and they have an idea how to use grand projects to reshape the world. For needs, he has defenses, which basically mean they're vulnerable to attack. Leadership, which means it's going to be hard to get them. There's no, it's unclear how your family is meant to operate. There's no clear voice managing discussions, and few have a clear idea of what they're meant to be doing at any one time. And he doesn't have morale either, which is also. That's a bad combination. Your family is descended into backbiting, factionalism, and despair. Any attempt to organize them into a group action is likely to run into complaints, sabotage, or apathy. So, they're so focused on their sciencey things that they've neglected leadership and morale. They're all kind of flying by the seat of their pants. So the next thing is, in resources, it also says, pick 3 options from the asset list to represent the resources characters can draw on. So these are almost to the bottom, the section assets. And you can choose 3 of the 4 here. There's an option to write in something if you don't like the options, but you have like, how do you fight? How do you defend? How do you travel? What useful expertise can you draw on? And these are things, basically, when we zoom into the character level, these are things that your character can always have access to. So, when we zoom into the character, I could always have flying vehicles if I chose that for my travel option. So I'd always start with a flying vehicle. These are like your gear options you get automatically as a character for any character of your faction.
And so we can only pick 3 of the 12 things
Of
here?
all of them. Okay.
So you basically choose 1 from each category minus 1 category. One category is going to be unchosen.
Okay.
I don't know if these people fight. My people. I guess you also typically have written first on there a thing that you always get just automatically. So for mine example, it says your characters can always have half understood journals from the before. In addition, pick 3. So it should say similar things for you guys.
What are Outrider trucks?
I assume kind of Mad Maxy sort of like off-road trucks that you can scout things with. Outrider just means like scouting, basically. And the tags that it lists there, like melee, ranged, whatever. Those are like narrative tags. Most of them don't have like strictly mechanical things, but usually it's just like fictional positioning. So like, for example, me choosing poison tipped needles to be able to fight with. Okay, melee and hidden. That means I can have it hidden, and I can describe myself, a character of my faction, having a hidden weapon in a way that you would have to make a roll for it, Seth, to have your weapons hidden, as opposed to me, where I can just automatically have it be hidden. I think I was looking at the wrong.
Do we have to give them
faction
tags too?
So if you make up an option, yes. But the tags should be listed automatically for the options layer, right? It's just the thing in the parentheses. And I was reading Jordan's faction off before. Actually, my characters Can always have well-fitting and stylish clothing. That makes more sense. I think. Let's see.
Caleb, is this a typo? It says scavengers finding food in shinies.
I don't think it is because
Like shiny Pokemon.
no, like it's like raccoons and ravens, like considering shiny objects, right? Like because you're animals, right?
Oh, okay, got it.
It's like valuable shiny things that animals would want to scavenge, right?
Okay, got it. I was just so confused. I was like, shinies, like Pokemon?
Yeah.
Okay, and then so I guess Caleb, can you clarify for me it says how do you travel? I don't know. This just doesn't make sense to me because I am an animal. I don't think I would use a simpler animal to travel. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like I can't. Like I just would assume I would just travel by walking. So I guess
you
I
just
don't
not choose that option, right?
Okay, so natural hide, would that make sense though? Because like I just like blend, how animals blend in.
Camo
with the
tough makes
natural-
total sense for that. Yeah.
Okay, habitat. Okay,
Perfect.
I think I'm good then.
Yeah, I think I'm going to choose masterwork heirloom weapons, melee and elegant for how do we fight, right? We have like pistols and swords and whatever. And then how do you defend? Maybe I don't choose that option. I don't think I will have a defense option. I think I'll do how do you travel, beast-drawn caravans, land and transport. And then what expertise can you draw on? I'm going to have bodyguards. What did you guys pick?
I picked how do you fight? I put down boom drills just because I imagine if these are things that are underground, we have like drills that like go in and actually hit them, or maybe I don't know. Is that too silly?
Ranged brutal makes sense. So boom drills being like you shoot something into the underground and it like.
Well, obviously these are things that live underground primarily, so we have to have something that pierces the underground.
No, for sure. Yeah. So what I'm asking is like this is like okay, it's range, right? So basically you're sticking it in the ground and then firing off something that then goes and hits.
Well, it's like a bazooka that has a drill.
Yeah.
thing.
Okay, perfect. So it's like that one episode in the Worms games that like can like a bunker buster or whatever it's called. That's funny.
And then how do I defend? I put Helldiver armor. I don't know what that is. It hardened and sealed seemed like things you would need against giant. Well, like not worms, but naked mole rat thingies.
Yeah.
Mole
Sealed
worms.
means basically you can survive like without air or whatever, right? So yeah, that makes sense. Like
we need that underground.
Yeah.
How do I travel? There's a theme here. Drill cars.
Drill cars. You okay, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm just popular this evening, apparently.
That's hilarious.
Oh, people keep calling.
Yeah.
What tags do you want to give the drill cars, Seth? It's probably ground.
Can we get one of those tags that's like the tags that you're supposed to rip off of the blanket and people sometimes forget about?
Ground. What are the options? What are the other options?
I think there's a list of them here. Let me see if I can find them. Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, these are things that could like go above ground, but they're like when they go below, it's like.
Yeah, so it's like ground. Let's see. We have canopy, durable, med bay, mighty, mount, swift, transport, or turret.
I'd go durable or mighty. What is the difference?
Yeah, so durable means the vehicle gets another dinged box, so it's harder to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
And then mighty is get advantage when you forge a path or fiercely assault with the vehicle. It also gives you the brutal tag, melee and brutal tag. Oh, so this would be perfect. I think you should do mighty because then you can attack them with the drill bit too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can just be like.
This is how we fight them. We chase them.
Yeah, exactly. Chase them in your drill cars.
It's like hilarious. It's like the whole thing where like they like chase people like chase buffalo off a cliff, but we're chasing them.
Right. Yeah, that's hilarious. And then Alyssa, what did you choose
for my assets?
Yeah.
How do I fight? Hit and run tactics, melee and elegant.
Nice.
How do you defend? Natural hide. So basically just hiding.
Yep.
And then what useful expertise can you draw on? Scavengers. finding food and shinies.
Nice. And then everybody also has a thing listed that they automatically get right at the top of assets. What are your guys', Seth and Alyssa?
Oh, a scarf, engineering tools, a religious symbol, etc.
Oh,
Wait,
so
where
a
is
character
this?
can always have some accessory that marks them as more than an animal. A scarf, engineering tools, religious symbol, etc.
Got it.
Where's
Probably
this
a
listed?
religious symbol.
Well, I think it's like each character can have a different thing. It's just like a thing that marks them as like being a human and not just an animal. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like the first thing that's listed after assets.
I don't have anything. Oh, wait, no. Your characters can always have a trophy from a previous hunt.
Yeah, perfect. Mine is you can always have like stylish clothing. And then and for your benefit, Jordan, I chose Masterwork Heirlooms is how we fight. So we have elegant melee weapons such as like dueling sabers and things. We travel with beast-drawn caravans, and we are protected. We are protected by bodyguards. So yeah, for you, Jordan, this is like assets we're looking at. Your characters can always have battered, half-understood journals from the before, and then it looks like you chose a couple. What else do you want to choose for there? Do you have vehicles or do you have weapons?
I kind of think vehicles. I just like imagine my characters being like not weapony, not fighting.
Yeah. Sure.
Or like or this family.
Do you want flying vehicles, rugged APCs, or a mobile ICU? You could also have like something else, right? You can put in that that custom box. You could have like diesel mechs or But it looks like the other options.
Hear me out. I like the idea of the diesel mechs, and the hazmat suits are also for the mechs.
Yeah, of course. They're also your pilot suits.
Your mexoskeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So this would be probably a land vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And then what other tag do you want to give it? Canopy, durable, medbay, mighty, mount, swift, transport, or turret. And I can explain those further if you'd like.
Explain mighty and explain turret.
Mighty, you get advantage when you forge a path or fiercely assault with a vehicle, and it adds the melee and brutal tag. These basically you have a weapon on the vehicle that's melee and brutal. So you'll get forging a path is like when you're trying to navigate a physical obstacle, and fiercely assault is like the attack move.
Okay.
And then turret is a ranged weapon mounted on the vehicle, gains the area tag, and can be controlled by the pilot. So basically, it's like, do you want a melee weapon or a ranged weapon?
Yeah. Let's go with the melee one.
Yep, sounds good. So you also have mighty on yours.
So land and mighty.
Perfect. And then what are the other options you chose?
Bulky hazmat suits for defend, utility sealed. What useful expertise can you draw on? Scholars!
Perfect.
Quality 1, researching.
And basically the useful expertise is like you can always, basically all of these are like, you zoom when we zoom in with a character, any character from your faction, they automatically have these as options they can take for free. So you can always have, for example, scholars that are helping you, Jordan, for any character you play in the faction. And for you, Alyssa, you can always have scavengers. For me, I can always have bodyguards. Seth can always have a drill car, right? Like, yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, that's what you mean, yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, let's see.
Did you guys already discuss my resources?
Yes, we went through them all. Yep, saw you picked them. It seems like you're focusing on science and not so much on anything else in your faction.
Here's what it is. My entire faction is the really scrawny, nerdy kid who has a weird obsession with baseball cards.
100%. Yep. Love it. All right, next is doctrine. It's a doctrine that suits your overall philosophy. This will also give you like a mechanical move thing that you get. These are up towards the top of the sheet. So for mine, I get to choose traders in stories and song, cutthroat extortionists, or men of wealth and taste. I'll probably do men of wealth and taste. It says, when your family gains a luxurious or extravagant surplus, they gain fleeting advantage. An advantage in this game is the same as like advantage in D&D. You roll, we're rolling 2d6 always, but this would be, you roll 3d6 and take the 2 highest. And disadvantage would be you roll 3d6 and take the 2 lowest. So I'm going to choose that one. So basically, we're men of wealth and taste, right? We have standards. Gosh darn it. And if you have a question about any of the mechanical things that it says there, you can feel free to ask on the doctrines.
I think I know what I want to do on mine. Because so tell me exactly what
Carrion market.
What does that mean? Because I don't know if I want that one because it doesn't sound extremely useful. But maybe I don't
So it
understanding
says
it.
when a new behemoth is found. So when you find a new one of these big monsters, right? Name a surplus that can be extracted from it or its environment at the risk of drawing its attention. So surpluses are the like resources in the game, right? So you can be like, I mean, one of the obvious examples of this would be food, right?
Well, that's not one of my surplus
food.
things,
right? But
it's not one of my specific surplus resources.
But you can always add. So there are a list of them in the game here that you can always get, and we can make them up too. Surpluses are just like a resource that you have an abundance of. Needs are just a resource you have a lack of. And they can, like, you start off with a list that are relevant to your faction, but you can always gain others that aren't on that list.
Okay. Well, does that or the Hell Crusaders one make more sense? I guess for me, because the other one says when a behemoth attacks you, where you can find a surplus to help you fight it off.
It depends on whether or not you want to be about getting resources from the behemoths or fighting off the behemoths. What do you care more about? And
probably
this can actually,
the
I think this can switch
from it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can extract stuff from the behemoth by killing it without drawing its attention.
That's fair. I guess the idea here would be like, you're just gonna have to fight it to get that resource, right?
Well, I mean, would the idea be like we can like get the sneak on, get like the jump on it?
When a new behemoth is found, name a surplus that can be extracted from it or its environment at the risk of drawing its attention. So I guess the idea is you have a move that like allows you to like be like, there's a new behemoth, cool. Let's do some things with it. And one of the extra options you'll get here is you can now name a surplus. One of the options would be food, but I think I could also see, depending on like the terraforming they're doing here, like there's some other thing they leave behind as they terraform or whatever that you can be like, we could also get this from them. And then that's just another option when you go to deal with the behemoth that's there to interact with the fiction.
I imagine too that. Well, I guess I imagine too that like probably like some of the armor and our stuff is built off of them because like they can't. They're so strong, but like, well, I don't even know if they're worm thingies. Well, I guess my question is, when the behemoth attacks, say you can find surplus to help you fight it off, would that include taking it down?
Yes. So the idea there would be like you're about to go attack the behemoth, but hey, there's the surplus that now we add to the map that you can go get to help you then fight it. So you would go and get that first, and then you would go fight the behemoth, and that surplus would help you fight it.
I don't know. Which do you think is better, guys? Having more troops with us, essentially, or being able to get more stuff from them?
Yeah, it's like, can you fight them better, or get more stuff from them when you fight them?
What do you guys think?
Given the way you've described the faction, I think carrion market makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think, Jordan? You look like you're thinking.
Which is more sustainable?
That's a good question. I guess if we have carrion market, we're getting more things from it, so that's more likely to actually get us things.
Like if you're already going to be killing them anyway, might as well get more stuff from them, right?
Yeah. We don't care about drawing their attention.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's how we fight them.
Exactly. You want their attention.
Mm-hmm. I actually have ideas of how that works, but anyway.
Yeah.
Alyssa, looks like you. I'm gonna kill you.
that surprised me. It was just really loud for some reason.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Me.
I don't know why it was, but it just scared me. It looks like you chose scavengers, Alyssa.
For doctrine.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. I mean, because foxes and wolves can be hunters and scavengers, but it seems like I'm going more for like the scavengery type.
Yep.
Rather than the hunters.
Especially in this new world, right? There's just less to hunt in this new world that has been created. Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to read that off for us?
Yeah. Scavengers, your family descended from omnivores. You have advantage infiltrating and scavenging for resources.
Cool.
I'd like to think that like we're like the ones that are really keeping everyone together here. Like we're providing like the
You're definitely the best at extracting what remains from the natural world.
Right. Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Jordan? What'd you choose?
I chose uplifting mankind's remnants. So long as others heed your family's advice on a grand project, they take advantage on their roles building it.
Yeah, that's one of the mechanical stuff there. One of the rules in Legacy is you can build things called wonders. And it's basically like a multi-step thing that you have to pour surpluses in to build. And once it happens, like you get a bunch of, like whoever built it gets a bunch of good stuff that happens. And like the age turns and a whole bunch of dramatic stuff happens when you build it. Changes the setting permanently. So that could be a fun thing. Sounds great. And then I already read mine off, so let's go on to the next thing. Lifestyle. According to your position on the map, and the choices are for everybody are settled, dispersed, or nomadic. And they have their own mechanical benefits that are listed on your factions. And those are on the top two. Let's see, what do I want to do?
I feel like it makes sense for me to be nomadic.
Yep, that makes sense.
We're just
You're just
we're
going
hunters.
wherever
We're
the
always
behemoths
watching
take
for
you.
'em.
Yep.
Wait, where are we reading?
Right on the
Top lifestyle.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yep. So are you nomadic, dispersed, or settled?
Land. Well, mine are different. Mine says air based, land based, water based.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Well, so that made it really obvious for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yours says your phenotype is ideal for speed and endurance, and you will not grow tired before your prey or pursuer does. Nice. And then Seth, what does yours actually say for the
Your
option there?
scouts stand ever watchful against the monsters.
Nice.
As soon as any of your family detects a behemoth, the whole family will know.
Cool. Yeah, I'm trying to decide mine. The options it gives for me, I could see them being any of these. Nomadic, it says when your family comes to a new area, tell the group what hidden resource brought you here. That could be a good one. Dispersed, the transport of goods and messages between settlements is another stock in trade for your family, which is like another thing that we get to deal in. There's a move for that. And then settled, everyone who carries something valuable to. You know what? I'm going to do dispersed. I think that makes the most sense. I think so. Dispersed meaning we're all over the homeland, in pockets. We don't wander around, and we're not settled in one particular area, but we're settled. And it makes sense because we have caravans and outposts and all that stuff. So I'm going to do dispersed. Jordan, what do you want to choose for lifestyle?
I was thinking settled makes the most sense.
Yeah, I want to read that off.
When you encounter a fragment of pre-fall culture, you know its cultural significance.
Nice. Okay, cool. Very fun.
Even if we don't understand exactly what it is, we know it's.
You understand the cultural significance. Yeah. And then the last thing for family stuff is family moves. Some of the families automatically get a move. Yours, for example, Seth, gets Kaiju Threat Alert automatically.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Which is your main
earlier.
one. So let's go through these one at a time here. So yours says here, Seth, your family is dedicated to hunting behemoths, titanic creatures that stalk the land and are hostile to human life. Each has unique strengths, hungers, and capabilities, but they share a common origin. As a group, work out what sort of form your world's behemoths take. Are they organic, robotic, elemental, ephemeral? So go ahead and write in there like giant moles or whatever. Alien moles.
Naked mole worms.
Yeah. And then the actual move says, when you scout for signs of behemoth attack, pick a danger in the world as an omen of an incoming assault. Say how it threatens families of your choice who become alerted. You can spend treaty you have on one alerted group on any other. I don't know what that means. It might be typed in wrong. And then it says if the behemoth is stomped before the threat becomes plausible, so basically the idea is depending on how you deal with the monster, you get different things on the other families because you're so central to keeping them all safe from the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna like give you resources and things based on how it goes down. Okay, and then you get to choose one other besides that.
Okay.
So if you want to go hard into the we get resources from the behemoths, behemoth tech might be a good one. If a behemoth is killed and you get access to its remains, you gain surplus behemoth tech. When used in a wonder, this replaces any 2 of its regular requirements. Tell us how the project was warped in alien ways. I guess that one's specifically focused on wonders. I don't know if you actually care about that.
I don't know what wonders are.
So wonders are like big projects that you can do to change the setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting stuff from the behemoth is cool, but it seems like this move is specifically focused on wonders. So
yeah.
Sleep now in the fire. When you lure a behemoth to rampage over a faction or family, spend up to 3 points of data and roll sleight. So you can basically
I'm bad at sleight though.
Yeah, okay, don't want to choose that one then. What are you good at? Grasp and reach, okay.
Ultimate weapon.
A lot of these aren't based on any of the stats, actually. Oh, yeah, you can totally upgrade your weapons or your vehicles even further with that one.
I like that. I'm going with the Mad Max vibes, so...
Yeah, okay, yeah. Your vehicles are the edge that allow you to bloody the nose of the behemoth and wipe the floor with regular foes. When you take one of your special vehicles out of storage, choose 2. They have an extra environment tag. You have advantage on physical actions when piling in it. They're giant and can fight the behemoths on equal terms. Every time you use it, pick 1. Erase surplus transport or surplus energy. It pollutes, gain need medicine or need land, or it could break down or blow up at any moment. So there's always something bad that happens when you take out your super cool drill cars.
Mm-hmm.
But you get to do awesome things with them. Cool, I like it. Alyssa.
Okay, so I have a couple choices. I think I'm gonna go with the first one for sure.
Atavistic nature.
Mm-hmm. Superior senses, and it gives me superior senses and teamwork.
Yeah, choose what gives your family a ferocious edge in battle. Superior senses and teamwork. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I can help separate your targets from its allies, terrify your target with a display of violence, take out your target's weakest unit.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. You start with 3 savagery, and then when you go all out on an enemy, you may spend 1 savagery to do one of the following that you just mentioned. At the start of a new age, you reset to 3 savagery. So we can probably find another way to give you savagery in the fiction, depending. But like typically, this is a rare resource that you want to use sparingly.
Cool. Yeah. So when does the start of new age actually happen? I guess.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like when we decide that like the current threat is sort of dealt with or has come to a closure. It's usually like an arc, has completed.
Then maybe I don't want to do that one. I don't know, it sounded cool.
Strength of the pack is cool. Add +1 quality to any group of followers entirely made up of members of your family. Your scavengers are even better.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And then when they act as one, both characters and followers roll with advantage. If the pack is ever completely wiped out, you gain the need vengeance.
Actually, yeah, I like that one because specifically I think that there's few of us. There's not very many of us, right? So that one's kind of cool.
Gotta stick together.
We gotta stick together. I kind of like the "Are we not men" one. When your family lends aid or otherwise protects another family without asking for anything in return, gain advantage on the joint effort. If the venture is a success, gain surplus morale, culture, or motivation.
I love it. Yeah, because you're going on the good side of this. You want to be more like Caesar's.
We want to be helpful.
Yeah, exactly. You're not trying to kill everyone, and yeah. Cool. All right, and then Jordan.
This is difficult.
Jordan wants them all.
I want them all. No. Okay, so weird science seems like a good one.
When your family puts together a device powerful enough to shape the local area for generations, say what they want it to do, the GM will give 1 to 3 of the following conditions. It'll take weeks, months, years to build. You'll need to erase a certain surplus. It'll only work for a limit. Yeah, so it's basically like a fun project one. And that sounds like what your faction is going to focus on is like fun projects.
Yeah.
That seems like a good one.
Yeah, so I like that. So I'll take that. And then Eye for Details and Future Shock are out. And then Deep Knowledge is kind of where I'm thinking.
Your family has a well-curated and extensive store of records on certain fields. Choose one from that list. When your character encounters a creature, item, or situation covered by this field, tell everyone a fact about it and gain fleeting advantage acting on that information. The GM will also tell you something you can do to gain 1 tech from the subject. You can erase a surplus of knowledge to pick an additional field of knowledge. Oh, that's cool. So you can expand your fields of knowledge by like using your surpluses to do it. So you can mark more of these boxes as you get surpluses of knowledge. That's cool. Those are some fun options too.
Yeah. I just don't know which one to pick yet. Like to start with. Like, which one do you think any of them make more sense than the others? Because I'm kind of torn between
I would say, yeah,
magic one and the horrors one.
Yeah, exactly. Because Magic and Artifice of the Glorious Past probably means, I think we can make that mean the Diesel Punk tech. Because it is still the past that it appeared. There isn't as much Magic and Artifice in your actual like your people's past, but the aliens coming, I feel like we can finagle it to mean that.
Okay.
The horrors birthed by the fall would be like the behemoths.
Okay.
So Magic and Artifice of the Glorious Past seems to make the most sense.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so you can erase a surplus of knowledge, progress, scouts, lore, something like that to gain an additional field. So if you ever decide, we really need to know about these behemoths, you can erase a surplus to do that.
Okay.
Cool.
I did briefly consider doing sufficiently advanced and taking a weapon that could slay any foe.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm definitely excited for the all-out battle against one of these giant moles, and there's like diesel mechs and drill cars and weird fox people. Okay, so for mine, I get
like an anime.
Yeah. I get stock in trade automatically. Your family has a particular product range they trade in, and you can expect to have those wares around unless your family is deeply in need and mood is at -3. Once per session, you can draw on one of your stocks in trade to boost a roll's result by 1 category. Choose 1 to 3 depending on whether you want to sell 1 boutique stock or have a wide array of wares. So my options are, for the dispersed lifestyle I chose, I automatically get the transports of good and messages between settlements as an option for free. But my other options are arms and ammunition, arts, music and culture, books, maps, and instruction manuals for forgotten things, drugs, spices, and venoms, food, fresh and preserved, living creatures bred or captured, or mementos of the world before. What do we think? What do these merchants typically peddle in?
So say those again.
Arms and ammunition, art, music, and culture, books, maps, and instruction manuals for forgotten things, drugs, spices, and venoms, food, fresh or preserved, living creatures bred or captured, or mementos of the world before.
Living creatures, given the other thing you said, seems fitting. But the I don't know. I just always the drugs one is just the stereotypical one I think of off the top of my head, but I don't know.
Yeah, we don't want to do that
one.
So I automatically get the goods and messages between settlements. I'm gonna also choose food, fresh and preserved. I think these people typically deal in like the necessities and not like they love their actually let's see. Yeah, food, pressure preserved I think is a good one to choose either way. I think I'll also choose art, music, and culture. Because they care about that.
Which makes sense where they're kind of tied to, like, the ties between your family and mine makes sense that way.
Yeah. And I'll also choose books, maps, and instruction manuals for forgotten things. So I won't choose mementos of the world before. That's like, I guess mementos of the world before would probably be like cultural heritage stuff from our civilization. But I'm going to do books, maps, and instruction manuals for forgotten things. Unless, should I do that one or should I do arms and ammunition? I could see either one.
I wonder, like, if arms and ammunition makes much sense.
Your faction seems to have a monopoly on, like, knowledge and tech, so I'm going to do arms and ammunition. Let's do that.
Okay, that makes sense.
That'll spread out the stuff a little bit better. Okay, let's see. What other move do I want to choose? Wrote the worth of the acquisition. Brand loyalty is one of the moves. That's hilarious. I'm going to choose Cabinet of Wonders. It says, when you delve deep into your family's reserves in search of something useful, describe what it is and what you want it for. It should fit with your stock and trade or a surplus of yours. The GM will give you 1 to 3 downsides, and then you can decide whether you still want to take it. It'll be useless afterwards. Its value will be immediately obvious to anyone who sees you carrying it. You're taking it away from an agreed buyer, and there'll be consequences if it isn't returned, or you'll need help from a specific character or NPC to use it well. I like
Just
that.
don't look for a dusty lamp in it, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So is there any other detail we need to figure out on the broad level in terms of the fall or it sounds like the questions it has here, what was the world before? It sounds like we're not on Earth, but somewhere Earth-like. That was kind of like an 1800s pre-industrial or almost right on the industrial era tech. Aliens showed up and caused the fall. Yeah, I think we have these pretty, and the diesel punk technology is kind of what's defining this. I think we have these pretty settled in stone.
I think the one thing to think about is, are the aliens supposed to return soon?
I think we should keep that a mystery. I don't think you guys know, right? Yeah. I'm going to make a faction for them that I can bring in if I want to use them, depending. Yeah. And I think I have an idea for another faction too that might come up. But I think the idea that like the aliens are still a mystery to you guys. You don't know how they work or why they came here in some, like, we obviously know that they're terraforming the planet. I don't know if you guys know that, right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, like, especially with your technology, you wouldn't know that that's a thing, right? So I think like there's still going to be some mystery. That'll probably be a lot of what Jordan's doing, and probably Seth's faction. They're both working together to figure out the weird alien stuff and what's going on with it. And yeah, as we seek to survive, we'll probably learn more about their secrets. And maybe they will turn. Maybe they will come back. That might be a thing that like a failed roll does, right? It's like, oh, you've sent them a message and like they're coming back now to claim what's theirs. They know that something's wrong, right? That
or
could be a
they
whole
think
thing.
that it's all done.
Or that, yeah, exactly. That could definitely be a thing. But we should keep that for a future possibility, I think. Okay, cool. Let's take a quick break here. We've been going for a while, and then we'll come back and make characters. And then we'll call it a session. So stick around. We got more Legacy to come right after this.